In the ancient village of Umudike, there was a river that no one dared to joke with. It was called Miri Inini Muo, the river of the mother spirit. The elders said the river was older than Umudike itself, older than the first hut, older than the first cry of a newborn. It was not just water, it was a living spirit. Children were warned never to swim there after sunset. Women never fetched water from it at night. Even the bravest hunters avoided its banks when the moon was full. For when the moon sat high and white in the sky, the river listened. And sometimes it chose. On the night everything changed. The moon was round like a calabash filled with secrets. That night, Adanma, daughter of Okari the potter, walked toward the forbidden river. She did not go because she was stubborn. She did not go because she was foolish. She went because her mother was dying. Adanma's mother, Urenwa, had been sick for 7 market weeks. No herb had healed her. No sacrifice had lifted her fever. The Dibia had shaken his head and said quietly, "Her life is now in the hands of the spirits." Those words were heavier than stone. That evening, as Adanma wiped her mother's burning body with a damp cloth, Urenwa whispered, "The river, Miri Inini Muo, its water can cure me." Adanma froze. "No, Mama, that river is forbidden." Urenwa smiled weakly. Forbidden does not mean useless. It means powerful. Before Adanma could argue, her mother closed her eyes and fell into restless sleep. Adanma sat there until the oil lamp burned low, until the crickets grew louder, until fear turned into resolve. If the river was the only hope, then she would face it. She wrapped her wrapper tightly around her waist, covered her head with a faded scarf, and carried an empty clay pot. No one saw her leave. The village slept, unaware that fate had risen. The path to the river was narrow and overgrown. The night air smelled of wet leaves and mystery. Each step felt like crossing into another world. When she finally reached the bank, the river glowed faintly, reflecting moonlight like silver skin. It was beautiful and terrifying. Adanma knelt, trembling. "Spirit of the river," she whispered, "I beg you. My mother is dying. Take anything, but spare her life." The water rippled. The air changed. Then from the middle of the river, a figure rose. Not a man. Not an animal. A being tall and elegant, clothed in mist and moonlight. His eyes glowed like deep emeralds. His voice was smooth like flowing water. "Daughter of clay and breath, you have been chosen." Adanma screamed and tried to run, but her legs would not move. "Chosen for what?" she cried. The spirit moved closer, and the water parted around him. "To be my bride." Her heart stopped. She had heard the stories. Girls taken by river spirits. Some returned mad. Some never returned at all. "No," she sobbed. "Take my life instead. But save my mother." The spirit's gaze softened. "You will not die. You will become queen of a hidden kingdom. And your mother shall live." Thunder rumbled in the distance though the sky was clear. But once you accept, there is no turning back. Tears rolled down Adanma's face. She thought of her mother's breath growing weaker, of her laughter, of her warm hands. Slowly, she bowed her head. "If my life is the price, I will pay it." The river roared. One moment she was kneeling on its bank, her body trembling, her heart shattering as she offered herself to the unknown. The ground beneath her feet vanished. Yet she did not feel water fill her nose or choke her throat. She did not struggle. Instead, she felt as though invisible hands were carrying her gently, guiding her deeper into a place that was not meant for human eyes. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer in Umudike. She lay on a floor that shimmered like polished pearl. Above her was no roof, yet she was not under the sky. Instead, glowing currents of blue and green light moved like slow rivers overhead. She sat up sharply, holding her wrapper. "Am I dead?" she whispered. Then she heard footsteps. They were slow, measured, confident. The kind of steps that belonged to a king. She turned. He was walking toward her from between 2 towering pillars. Tall, broad-shouldered, his skin dark as wet earth after rain, glowing faintly as if moonlight lived beneath it. His long hair flowed like black silk down his back. He wore a robe woven from silver threads that shimmered with every movement. Around his neck hung a necklace made of emerald stones shaped like serpent eyes. But it was his gaze that froze her. Those eyes. Green. Deep. Ancient. And unbearably gentle. Adanma's knees weakened, and she dropped to the floor. "Baiko, please," she whispered. "If you will take my life, take it quickly." The man stopped a few steps away. "No, Adanma," he said softly. "I will not take your life. I will give you another." Her name on his lips felt like a spell. She raised her head slowly. You know my name? I have always known you." His voice was calm. "I am Obiajalu, king of the serpent spirits, guardian of the sacred rivers, and your husband." The word struck her like thunder. "My husband." He knelt before her, lowering his head in respect. "You offered yourself willingly. In the laws of both spirit and earth, that is consent. You are not my prisoner, Adanma. You are my bride." Her breath came in shallow gasps. "I am human. You are not." Sadness crossed his face. "I was human once." Her eyes widened. "Once. Yes, I lived as a man. A prince. I loved a woman, but we'll tell the story another day." Fear crawled through her, yet something else followed it. Curiosity. Pity. A strange pull she could not name. "Why me?" she asked. He reached out but stopped, as though afraid to touch her. "Because your heart is fearless. Because your love is selfless. Because you chose sacrifice over safety. Such souls are rare. And only such a soul can stand beside mine." In her eyes. "I did not come for love. I came for my mother." "And she will live," he said firmly. "As we speak, her fever has broken. By sunrise, she will rise from her mat." Adanma sobbed, relief crashing over her. But when the sobs ended, the reality remained. "What happens to me now?" Obiajalu stood. "Now you learn what it means to belong to two worlds." He clapped his hands once. The palace shifted. The air thickened. A low hum filled the space. Suddenly, pain shot through Adanma's chest. She cried out and clutched her heart. Her vision blurred. The world tilted. Her body felt as though fire and ice were fighting within her veins. From nowhere, spirit maidens appeared. Their forms glowing, they held her gently but firmly. "What is happening to me?" she screamed. "Your spirit is opening," Obiajalu said. "The bond is beginning." Her back arched. Her eyes rolled back. Her voice changed, deepening, echoing. She was no longer fully herself. Her mouth opened, and a voice that was not hers spoke. "I accept the throne." The palace trembled. The possession faded. Adanma collapsed into his arms, unconscious. When she awoke, she was lying on a bed made of soft glowing leaves and silk. The king sat beside her, watching her with worry and awe. "You possessed me," she whispered weakly. "No," he corrected gently. "The throne called you. The power recognized you. You did not lose yourself. You awakened something that was already within you." Tears slid down her temples. "I am afraid." He brushed her hair away from her face, his touch warm and human. "So was I the first time I loved." She looked into his eyes. You love me?" "I do not yet know the shape of what I feel," he admitted. "But my soul moves toward yours. That is how love begins in both spirit and flesh." Slowly, hesitantly, Adanma lifted her hand and touched his cheek. It was solid, warm, real. Not a monster but a man burdened by eternity. Their eyes locked. This was not fear anymore. It was the dangerous beginning of desire. Adanma woke to the sound of water singing, like 1,000 soft voices woven together in harmony. For a moment, she thought she was still dreaming. Then she remembered. The river. The palace. The king. The possession. Her heart tightened. She sat up slowly. A quiet knock echoed, though there was no visible door. The air parted like water, and a figure stepped in. It was not the king. The woman who entered was tall and graceful, her skin glowing faintly like moonlight on water. Her hair was braided with silver threads, and her eyes shone with calm wisdom. She bowed low. "Nwanyani," she said. "Our queen." Adanma's stomach twisted. "Please don't call me that." The woman smiled gently. "It is already written in the currents of fate. My name is Nkiru, spirit handmaiden of the serpent throne. I have been assigned to you. Assigned. Like an object. Like a possession. Can I leave? Nkiru hesitated, just for a breath. You may walk between worlds, but you can never be free of both. The word struck harder than any slap. What does that mean? It means your spirit has been marked. Even now the river flows inside you. You belong partly to earth, and partly to us. Adanma closed her eyes. She thought of Yumudike. Of her mother's hut. Of the smell of palm oil and wood smoke. Of the laughter of village girls at the stream. I want to see my mother. You will, Nkiru said softly. But first, your body must learn to carry power without breaking. Before Adanma could respond, pain struck her again. Not sharp. Deep. Like something awakening. She gasped and fell forward. Her breathing became heavy, uneven. The possession came like a slow tide. Her eyes glowed faintly green. Her back straightened unnaturally. Her voice shifted. The throne stirs. The bride resists. Nkiru dropped to her knees instantly. Great Mother Serpent, have mercy. She is still learning. Adanma screamed inside herself. She felt trapped behind her own eyes. Watching something else move her body. Then, suddenly, a presence stronger than the rest broke through. Enough. The voice was deep. Commanding. Familiar. Obiangelu appeared, stepping from the air like a god walking through mist. His eyes burned with emerald fire. Let her go. Adanma collapsed, coughing, shaking, fully herself again. He caught her before she hit the floor. Do not touch her spirit again, he said to the unseen forces. She is under my protection. Silence followed. Nkiru bowed deeply. Forgive us, my king. The power grows faster than expected. He lifted Adanma into his arms. She was surprised by how natural it felt. Safe. Strong. Like she belonged there, despite everything. Why is this happening to me? She whispered. Because you are not only a bride, he said softly. You are a vessel. A bridge between realms. Because the River Mother knows you might be my freedom, so she wants to take over our spirit. He carried her into a smaller chamber filled with warm golden light. A pool of glowing water rested at the center. This is the pool of binding, he said. It calms possession and strengthens the human soul. He lowered her gently into the water. It wrapped around her like warm silk. Instantly her shaking eased. Her breathing steadied. She looked up at him. Why are you kind to me? His jaw tightened. Because I know what it is to be trapped in a body that no longer feels like home. She studied his face. The sorrow in his eyes was not ancient myth. It was real. Personal. Alive. You said you were human once. Yes. What was your name? He hesitated, then spoke quietly. Obiangelu. The name felt powerful, heavy with memory. What happened to Obiangelu? Obiangelu loved a woman. She was the daughter of a poor palm wine tapper, but their love was forbidden. Obiangelu's father had already promised him to the daughter of a rival king to seal peace between two warring lands. Refusing the marriage would mean war. When he announced his refusal, they accused her of bewitching the prince. They dragged her to the river. As she was drowning, Obiangelu reached Amaka, but before he could pull her free, a powerful current wrapped around him. But it was too late. Amaka had drowned. Obiangelu fought the water, but he was only human. The waters closed over Obiangelu. He did not drown. He transformed. That was how Obiangelu became cursed. And the curse will be lifted if he can find a true love. Adanma's heart broke. You did all that for love? Yes. And love destroyed me. Tears slid down her cheeks. Slowly, Adanma reached out and took his hand. His breath caught. Her touch was warm. Human. Alive. You are not a monster, she whispered. You are a wounded man. His fingers tightened around hers. And you are not my prisoner, he replied. You are my hope. For the first time since meeting him, Adanma felt something new rise stronger than fear. Meanwhile in Yumudike, her mother awoke from sickness, and whispered her daughter's name, but she was nowhere to be found. Back in the Water Kingdom. You promised I would see her, Adanma said quietly. Obiangelu watched her with an expression that was both proud and afraid. And you will. But you must understand what that means. She lifted her chin. Tell me. When you return to the human world, you will not return as you left. The river has written itself into your spirit. You will feel us, hear us. Sometimes we will speak through you. Possession, she whispered. Yes. A chill crawled down her spine. Will I still be myself? He walked closer. As long as your will remains stronger than fear. She searched his face. And if it isn't? His silence was answer enough. The palace shifted. Nkiru appeared bowing. The path is open, my king. They walked together toward a pool that shimmered. This is the Veil Gate, Obiajalu said. Once you step through, your body will return to Yumidike. Your spirit will remain bound here. Adanma turned to him. Will I see you again? He hesitated, then placed his palm over her heart. You already carry me here. Her breath caught. Emotion rushed up like a storm. I don't want to leave you, she whispered. The words surprised even her. He closed his eyes slowly. And that is what frightens me. She reached for his hands, holding them tightly. You said love destroyed you once. But maybe this love can heal you. His eyes shone. Or destroy us both. Then Adanma stepped forward and pressed her forehead to his chest. She felt his heartbeat. Strong. Real. Human. I am afraid, she admitted. So am I, he replied, wrapping his arms around her. She pulled away, tears bright in her eyes. Promise me something. Anything. When the world becomes too heavy, when possession tries to take me, call my name. He nodded. With a scream. She was on the floor of her mother's hut. The smell of smoke and herbs filled her nose. Human voices cried out around her. She's alive. She has returned. Her mother knelt beside her, tears pouring down her face. Adanma, my child, you vanished for 3 days. 3 days. Adanma struggled to sit up, her body aching like she had fought death itself. She touched her mother's face. Warm. Solid. Alive. You're healed, she whispered. Urenwa smiled weakly. I slept like the dead and woke like the newborn. What did you do, my daughter? Adanma opened her mouth to answer, but her throat tightened. How could she explain a serpent king? A spirit throne? A love beyond flesh? I prayed, she said simply. The village gathered outside, murmuring in awe and suspicion. That night, Adanma slept beside her mother. But her dreams were not her own. She stood in the serpent palace again, surrounded by shadows. Voices hissed from the walls.
Did you hear
She
that?
woke screaming.
It's
No, she cried. Her mother held her tightly.
No, stay with me.
It is only a dream, my child. But Adanma knew. It was not a dream. Possession had begun to follow her into the door. In the following days, strange things happened. Water bent toward her when she fetched it. Snakes slithered past her without fear. Children said her shadow moved differently at sunset. Her eyes glowed faintly when she became emotional. And sometimes she heard his voice. Adanma. She would freeze, heart racing. I am here. Tears would rise in her eyes, torn between comfort and terror. One afternoon, while pounding yam, the possession came without warning. Her hands stopped. Her body stiffened. Her eyes glowed fully emerald. Her voice changed. The throne calls for balance. Her mother fell to her knees. Not my daughter. Please. Adanma fought from within, screaming inside her own mind. Obiajalu, call my name. Please. Call me back. And in the depths of the river palace, he felt her pain. He rose from his throne, power blazing. Release her, he commanded the spirits. Or face my wrath. The bonds surged. Adanma collapsed, gasping, human again. She whispered, I belong nowhere. And from the depths of the river, his voice answered in sorrow. You belong with me. That night, the council of elders summoned her. The village square burned with torches, their flames restless. The elders sat in a circle, their faces hardened by fear disguised as wisdom. At the center stood the village Dibia Nwankwo, a man whose eyes had seen too many spirits and whose heart had grown too cautious. Adanma, daughter of Okari, he began. Since your return, strange things have happened. possession, power, fear among the people. I did not ask for this, she replied. But it has chosen you. An elder said sharply. And whatever chooses a human must be questioned. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Dibianwankwo raised his staff. The river is in Alusi, powerful, jealous, demanding. If it has claimed you, then it may soon claim more. Adanma's breath trembled. It healed my mother. And tomorrow it may demand a sacrifice, he countered. Her mother rose suddenly. My daughter is not a sacrifice. She is flesh and blood. Or a vessel, someone muttered. The word struck Adanma like a blade. Vessel. Not woman. Not daughter. Not human. The Dibia leaned forward. We must cleanse her. Cleanse. Urenwa cried. You mean kill her? No, he said calmly. We mean break the bond between her and the river spirit. If she survives, she is free. If she dies, then the village is safe. Adanma felt the world tilt. Her legs shook, but she stood tall. I will not allow you to turn me into your sacrifice, she said quietly. I am not your enemy. But you are not one of us anymore, an elder replied. That night, Adanma fled Umudik. Her mother wept silently as she tied a small cloth of food around her waist. If they take you, they will never stop. Go. Live. Adanma pressed her forehead to her mother's. I will return. I swear. But in her heart she knew. Some doors never open twice. She walked toward the forest, guided by a voice only she could hear. Follow the water's memory, Obiajalu whispered. It will lead you back to me. The forest was alive with danger. Suddenly she collapsed. She awoke in his arms. For the first time, their embrace was not careful. It was desperate. Real. Burning. She clung to him. I do not care what I become. I only care where I belong. His voice dropped to a whisper. Then stay. Become my queen. Let the river crown you fully. If she stayed, she would lose her humanity forever. If she left, she would be hunted by both spirits and men. Adanma closed her eyes. Teach me how to be your bride, she said. In the days that followed, they both decided to confront Miri Moo to lift Obianuja's curse. Adanma and Obiajalu stood barefoot at the riverbank. Not as spirit and vessel, not as king and bride, but as two souls who had chosen each other. The river began to move unnaturally. The water darkened, turning from silver to deep emerald. Adanma tightened her grip on Obiajalu's hand. Do not be afraid, she whispered. You have faced death before. Tonight, you face freedom. Obiajalu swallowed hard. His chest burned as the old serpent power stirred inside him, trying to rise, trying to reclaim its throne. Miri Inini Muo, he called, his voice echoing across the water. Mother of spirits. I come not as your king, but as your prisoner seeking release. The river answered. For the first time, the power did not command him. It waited. He stepped forward beside her. I was cursed because I loved, he said, his voice breaking but steady. I was turned into a monster because I refused to let love be stolen. But now I have found love that is freely given, not demanded. Then the river spoke again, softer now, slower. The curse was forged by hatred. Only love can unmake it. And you have found love. Go, Obiajalu. Your debt is paid. Your love has rewritten your fate. The water calmed instantly. And immediately Obiajalu collapsed into Adanma's arms. When villagers saw them, fear first crossed their faces. Murmurs spread like wildfire. That is the River King. No, look again, he looks human. Adanma has returned with a man. Urenwa came running, her wrapper loose, her eyes wide. When she reached them and saw Obiajalu standing without glow or power, only flesh and breath, she froze. Adanma took her mother's hand. Mama, this is Obiajalu. He is no longer a spirit. He is human. He is my husband. Urenwa studied him carefully. Then she placed her palm on his chest and felt his heartbeat. Strong. Mortal. She burst into tears and pulled them both into her arms. Then the river has finally learned mercy. They were both welcomed by the villagers and had a grand wedding and lived happily after.